Okay, so we're on chapter 15. The next few days passed uneventfully. Jonah didn't get any more strange letters, and no one disturbed the letter he had already had. He didn't see any evidence of ghosts or intruders. Catherine and Chip kept insisting on giving him updates on their ongoing research project, but no matter how many times Jonah said, "I don't care," he tried to ignore them. But he knew they wanted to call every single name on the survivors list now, too. It'd be easier if Catherine had held the camera a little steadier, Chip told Jonah at the bus stop the third morning. Look at this. He took a folded up paper out of his pocket, the printout of the photos Chip had pieced together. He pointed at one spot where there was a gap between the words, right here. She got the address and phone numbers of this person, but I don't know who to ask for when I call. And then down here, right below that, she got the name and street address, not even a city name. So I can't look up their phone number online. It's frustrating. Huh, Jonah said, barely bothering to look at the paper. Then curiosity got the better of him. Since this was only Chip, not Catherine, he decided it was safe to ask at least one question. What are you even saying to these people when you call? We ask who they are, Chip said, what they survived, why their names are on a list at the FBI. Do they know? Jonah made sure he was looking away from Chip when he asked that, as if he was more concerned about watching for the bus than about hearing what Chip was saying. None of them know about the list. They've survived things like broken arms and chicken pox and minor car accidents, and Chip gave Jonah a sidelong look. Being adopted. Jonah decided not to comment on that. They'll talk to you? Some stranger calling them out of the blue? He wondered if everyone was as trusting as his parents. Usually not right away, Chip said, until I start talking about how I just found out I was adopted and how I got these weird, kind of scary letters, and now my name's on the list of survivors too. Usually it's the letter part that gets them talking. They got the letters too, Jonah said. It wasn't a question. He could tell just from Chip's voice. Catherine already told you that, didn't she? Chip asked. Everyone we talked to got them. Jonah didn't want to admit how hard he'd been working to tune out everything Catherine had tried to tell him. He looked around for his sister. She was in the center of the kids laughing and talking under the glow of the streetlight, but she wasn't joining in the laughter. She was peering anxiously at him and Chip. It's just been 5 or 6 people you've talked to, right? Jonah said, I don't think that's what Catherine said. That's not so many. Nothing to base any conclusions on. It's not he tried to remember the proper term, a statistically significant sample. Wow, his math teacher would be really proud of him for remembering that. Jonah, it's 17 people so far, Chip said. Jonah remembered that Catherine hadn't been able to help Chip out the night before because she'd had gymnastics practice. He felt a little guilty for not helping Chip himself. And, Chip continued, every single survivor I've talked to is adopted, just like us. They are all 13 years old, or they'll turn 13 within the next month. They all have fall birthdays, and all of them were about 3 months old when they were adopted. Just like me, Jonah thought. What are they, clones? He asked sarcastically. Did you ask to check their DNA? Jonah, 8 of them are girls. 3 are Asian, 2 are black. They're not clones. Jonah decided to stop making jokes. I haven't even told you the weirdest thing, Chip said. Everybody lives here in Liston or in Upper Tyson or Clarksville. Upper Tyson and Clarksville were the 2 closest suburbs. So, Jonah challenged, how's that weird? Maybe this is just the territory for that FBI office I went to. Chip shook his head. Most of the kids were adopted in other places, like me, Chip said, but even the ones who used to live someplace else, they've all moved here. All within the past 6 months. That's 12 kids moving here, all since June. Jonah had chills suddenly. Then he thought of something. Wait a minute. Let me see that list again. Chip pulled the papers back out of his pocket. Jonah yanked it out of his friend's hand and stabbed a finger at one line of print. See? This person you were asking me about before, that's an address in Ann Arbor, Michigan, he said triumphantly. That's miles away, a whole different state. Maybe it's just a coincidence that Catherine only got the complete information on people who live close by. No, wait. Here's somebody in Winnetka, Illinois. So there are at least 2 people who live somewhere else. Jonah, that's me in Winnetka, Chip said. I'm on the list twice, with my new address and with my old one, both, just like I got 2 copies of each of those weird letters. His voice faltered. Oh, I see. What? Jonah thought of something new too. You think the FBI sent us the letters? No, I don't. Chip said distractedly, but this person in Ann Arbor, it's a girl, and her name's Daniela McCarthy. The only thing Jonah could see above the address, 103 Destin Court, Ann Arbor, Michigan, was a little line right above the T of court. It might have been the loop of the Y at the end of McCarthy, or it might have been just a wrinkle in the paper, magnified and darkened by the camera. How do you figure that? Jonah asked. I bet you anything it's the same girl as down here, the one at 1873 Robin's Egg Lane, Chip said. And I bet there's a Robin's Egg Lane in Liston or Upper Tyson or Clarksville. That's the pattern on the entire list. Old address, new address. I bet if I call this Ann Arbor number, I'll get one of those messages. Do. The number you are calling has been changed. The new number is, and he made his voice robotic, just like a computerized phone message. Now he slipped back into his usual voice. I'll prove it. He pulled his cell phone out of his backpack and began dialing. Chip, do that later. The bus is coming, Jonah said, because he could see the headlights swinging around the corner. I'm just going to get a machine, Chip said. Got anything to write with? Jonah fished a pen out of his own backpack. Chip held out his left palm. I'll repeat the number back to you. You write it on my hand, Chip said. Chip was talking when the phone clicked. Jonah was close enough to hear, and decidedly non-computerized voice answered. Voice said, hello. Sounded like a girl. Hello, Chip said awkwardly. Daniela? Yes, she sounded impatient. You still live in Ann Arbor? Where else would I live? Liston, Ohio, or maybe Upper Tyson or Clarksville? But that's not as likely. Are you sure you aren't moving or planning to move or in the process of? No, the girl said in a tone that was very clearly said. That's a stupid question. Hey, you two going to school today? The bus driver yelled. Jonah realized that the bus had arrived and almost all the other kids had already climbed on. He jerked on Chip's arm, pulling him toward the bus. Oh, sorry, Chip was saying into the phone. I think I have some bad information. You really don't have another address on Robin's Egg Lane in another city?